How do you know the difference between a problem that's a marriage problem and a problem that's a personal problem? After all, personal issues do impact a relationship, right? For instance, if your spouse is a drug addict, is that a problem solved with marriage counseling? No, that problem is a personal problem, and the addict needs one-on-one help. It certainly impacts your marriage, but it's not a marriage problem. But some personal issues aren't as obvious as an addiction. Often when there's lying, control issues, manipulation, or even adultery, their church recommends, let's go to marriage counseling. But that's not going to solve anything because those two are personal problems. They're character issues. What's underneath a lot of these behaviors is thinking that's distorted. It's entitled thinking. For example, the abusive husband believes, I'm entitled to talk to my wife that way when she doesn't do what I want. His actions say, I'm entitled to cheat on my spouse with another woman or with porn when she doesn't do what I want or just because I want to. And I shouldn't have to experience any consequences if I ask for forgiveness. In other words, he believes I should be able to do what I want, how I want, when I want, without any negative feedback or impact on my marriage. This entitlement thinking must be dealt with in one-on-one counseling before any real healing of broken trust or restored safety in the marriage can take place. Let me give you a few reasons why I am opposed to marriage counseling when safety or trust in a marriage has been broken. First, there's fear. The victim knows if she tells the whole truth in counseling, there's going to be a price to pay, so she keeps her mouth shut, and the counselor or pastor never gets to understand what's really happening behind closed doors. Second, there's often a false image to maintain. The husband may be in the counselor's office not because he's a client or there to get help for himself or his problem. He's there so he can say he's working on the marriage, but he has no real intention of dealing with his personal issues that caused trust and safety to break down. And third, marriage counselors are supposed to be neutral. They don't take sides. And that's important for typical marriage problems. But when you're dealing with a destructive marriage, the victim, usually the wife, is looking for help and speaking the truth to her husband, giving him a wake-up call, getting him to do his work. And the end result is nothing but disappointment for the wife. And a husband who thinks she should be happy now because after all, he's going to marriage counseling. So if your husband is unwilling to really look at his own personal character issues that have broken your heart and your trust, what can you do? When it comes to changing him, there's one thing you can do, and that is pray. But what you also need to do is your own personal work of gaining greater self-awareness, getting stronger, and setting appropriate boundaries. Now, this may not solve your marriage problems, but it will help you. And as a result, as you get stronger, your relationship will start to change. Your husband will see that you can't be as easily fooled or intimidated or controlled or manipulated as you once were. And then you can begin to invite him into looking at his own change. And whether or not he does that is not up to you, but at least he has the possibility of taking that next step. Until next time, God bless.